I want to, first of all, thank you all very much for allowing me to be here tonight to speak with you very briefly about my campaign for Attorney General. Senator Mrs. Allen, it's always an honor to see you, and Congressman and Mrs. Goodlatte, it's an honor for you to be here as well. I want to thank both of you and your families for your public service to our Commonwealth and to our country. Thank you very much. I also want to note, you may not have noticed this, but every speaker that was up here this evening spoke without the teleprompter. Now, for our new president, with all due respect, it can be a little scary, but I think he can do it. So from now on, no more teleprompter, Mr. President. I also want to congratulate Delegate Gilbert and his soon-to-be wife, Jennifer. I, too, married a reporter from Roanoke Valley, formerly and necessary. I can tell you, marrying a reporter has its challenges. If you're like me, she's a lot smarter than you. So when you get into an argument, I suggest you concede very quickly. I also got a chance to see your sheriff here this evening before he had to slip out. He reminded me that it wasn't too long ago that I came up here an opportunity to lock up a bunch of the Warlocks motorcycle gang several years ago. That was a case that we did up here. And you know, I have to tell you, when I first read the charges in this case, it said all these horrible things that these individuals have done, dope dealers, violence, and all these things. And I thought, wow, this is going to be this great gang case. So I got up here. Well, the Warlocks were a little bit older than I had anticipated. I think most of them were receiving Social Security. And it was not quite as exciting a case as I thought, but my gosh, we locked them up anyway. They're all out by now. So, I do want to talk to you briefly about this great campaign for Attorney General of Virginia. I begin by saying that I'm running against two fine gentlemen, Mr. Foster and Mr. Cuccinelli. And I've had the opportunity to travel around this great state with these gentlemen for the last 10 months. They probably can give my speech better than I can, and it goes the other way. But they're great gentlemen, they're good lawyers, and regardless of who you select, I'm confident that you will pick someone who will represent our party and our Commonwealth with distinction. But I do want to suggest that there are a couple of differences, some things that I think will matter come November, and I want to talk about those a little bit, so that when you go to this convention on May 30th, and I know you will all be going, that you'll have the information to make the choice that you see that you believe is best. I think I offer this party three things. First of all, I'm conservative. Now, I say that, and I think Chairman Frederick has it right, we need to be a big party. But it's important for you to understand about me and my values, so that when you make your pick for Attorney General, you have all that information. I believe that life begins at the moment of conception, and that as a government, as a people, as a humanity, we have an obligation to protect that innocent human life. I believe that marriage should be between one man and one woman, and as Attorney General, I'll go to court to protect that important Virginia value. I believe that the Second Amendment is an individual constitutional right. It's not just me saying it, it's the United States Supreme Court that says it. And as your Attorney General, I'll go to court there too and protect your individual constitutional Second Amendment right. Very important right that we protect. I believe that our immigration laws must be enforced. And as your Attorney General in this very community, I have done just that for the last 7 years. As noted, I believe we are taxed too high, and I know we spend too much. If you have any doubt, you should check out the $1 trillion credit card that has just been created by our new president and his allies on the Democrat side. And so on those matters that are important to conservatives, I'm a conservative candidate. And I would presume it goes without saying that I'm a law and order conservative, and that I know how to build a safer community. But ladies and gentlemen, it's going to take more than being just a good conservative to get elected Attorney General of this great Commonwealth. First and foremost, you must be a conservative, but you must also be a prosecutor. We must, the Republican Party, the law and order party, must nominate a prosecutor to be its Attorney General. How important is that? Well, I'll walk you back 25 years, the last 6 terms of Attorneys General in this Commonwealth, 5 of those 6 were prosecutors, and every single time the voters had to choose between a prosecutor and someone who had not served as a prosecutor, they picked that prosecutor every single time. Now the Democrats understand this, and they will nominate a prosecutor. His name is Steve Shannon. He's a member of the House of Delegates. He's unopposed, and he's a prosecutor. So the Democrats have laid down their marker, and the burden now shifts to us. My recommendation is that you nominate the former United States Attorney, the former top federal law enforcement officer for over half the state for the last 7 years. Someone who has taken on violent crime and drug traffickers and violent predators and illegal aliens and public corruption and crooked companies and brought justice to the Commonwealth of Virginia. It's very important that we nominate that prosecutor. The third reason is I'm a veteran. And I'm the only veteran, just like I'm the only prosecutor, running for Attorney General. When I left college at Washington and Lee, I joined the Army. I volunteered for the infantry. I went to airborne school and ranger school. Now I will tell you, all of my airborne jumps were night jumps because my eyes were closed. But it's important. 15% of the electorate in Virginia are veterans. That's 850,000 voters have served in uniform, and if you count their families, it doubles that. It is a huge voting bloc, and currently we have 14 folks running for public office, for governor, lieutenant governor, and attorney general. There's 14 of them, but there's 2 veterans. That's Bob McDonald and myself. And what I've told Mr. McDonald is that when I win this nomination, we'll go to American Legion halls all across this Commonwealth. And I will walk in as a member, and I will introduce the next governor of Virginia, who will also be a member. And we'll get those veteran votes for the Republican Party of Virginia. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that the choices and our obligation as voters is clear. The model for victory for Attorney General has been laid out before us for the last 2 to 3 decades. It is a conservative, it is a prosecutor, and it is a veteran. That is the model of Bob McDonald. It is the model of Jim Gilmore. It is the model of Jerry Kilgore, who was also both a state and federal prosecutor. And it is the model of John Brownlee. And so, I close with this one last statement, and it is a request. They've passed these forms around for you to sign up to be a delegate. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I know you've got a lot of things going on May 30th that you would rather be doing. It's the weekend after Memorial Day, and you probably have a lot of things on your schedule. But I'm asking you to fill out this form and come to this convention. Number one, we want to send Bob McDonald and Bill Bowling off with a huge send-off. Big send-off, so that the press says this Republican Party is back and it is ending. But I also need you to come and support this campaign for Attorney General, to give us your vote and allow us to lead. And I'll finish with one last story. When I was in airborne school, it was the day before my first jump. And I was standing on the tarmac out of an airfield near Fort Benning, Georgia. I had my parachute on. I was waiting. The sergeant came up to me and he said, "Lieutenant Brownlee, you look a little nervous." I said, "Sergeant, I'm very nervous. I'm about ready to get on this plane and you're going to tell me to jump." He said, "Lieutenant Brownlee, let me give you some advice." I said, "Okay, Sergeant, what is that?" He said, "Lieutenant Brownlee, if you want to be airborne, you've got to jump. You've got to get on that plane, you've got to put on that chute, and when that green light hits, you've got to go." Fellow Republicans and ladies and gentlemen, if you want to have a chance to impact the future of your great party, if you want to have a chance to pick new, bold, fresh leaders for the Republican Party and put us back in the winning column, you got to go. You got to fill out the form, and on May 30th, you've got to go to Richmond. If you do that, you'll pick new leaders who will win, and we'll turn this state so red, the Democrats won't stand.